What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how wide receivers can pick press releases off the line of scrimmage. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you are a wide receiver and would like a 3-month daily wide receiver gym workout schedule, everything wide receivers should be doing in the gym, check out that very first link in the description below for our 12-week wide receiver gym workout plan. We give you access to over 200 plus wide receiver gym exercises. We break down the exact sets and reps to do. Everything's mapped out for you, fellas, and super easy to follow. So check out that very first link in the description below if you're interested. Let's get started with this video. So when it comes down to picking press releases, how do you choose the right press release? What's the right press release to use in a given situation? That is everything that we are going to be covering in this video. So the main thing that it comes down to is having a good pre-snap process. So what is a pre-snap process? That's what you're looking for as soon as you come up to the line of scrimmage. Now, it might seem like a lot at first, but honestly, fellas, when you guys get this down, you'll be able to identify that pre-snap look in probably under 1 second and have a release ready to go. But it comes down to your preparation and knowing what to do. So we're going to play this example full speed here. This is an outside shade press coverage look, and this wide receiver is running a 10-yard out. And this is textbook. This is as good as it gets. So he comes off the ball, gets a quick jab outside, takes the inside release, and works this great throw-by move at the top of the route to create some space. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about why he decided to use this press release. So when it comes to my press releases off the line, it's not about the route. It's not about it being an inside breaking route or an outside breaking route. It is solely about how the DB lines up. That is how I pick my press release. So we have to look for the first thing in the pre-snap process, and that is going to be his leverage. So is he going to be outside leverage? Is he going to be head up? Or is he going to be inside leverage? And for those of you that don't know what leverage means, that's essentially just like where the DB is lined up, where he is shaded. So if he's shaded to the outside, that tells me a couple things. And this is how I go about picking my release. When he's shaded to the outside, that's telling me that he's trying to prevent the outside route. So he does not want me to run a 10-yard out, a corner, a fade, a comeback. He wants to force me to the inside to where his safety help is. He got some kind of help to the inside. So we know all of that just by identifying his leverage. Now, can a DB disguise his leverage? Absolutely. Playing the wide receiver position is a lot about having a plan off the line, but it's also about being able to react sometimes. You have to have both. You have to have a high route running IQ, but you have to be able to react. So now, the second thing that you want to identify in your pre-snap process when it comes down to picking a release is going to be the distance between you guys. So is he going to be, 2 yards off? Is he going to be 5 yards off? Or is he going to be right up on the line of scrimmage? And that's how you dictate what release to use. I'm sure all of you guys have your favorite releases. I talk a lot about having 5 to 6 different releases that you can use, and that's what you should focus on. But all of those should build into the different leverage looks and distances that he gives you with that specific leverage. So in this case, he's right up on the line of scrimmage. So that tells me I don't have much room to operate. I don't need to close any space. I don't need to attack him. I just got to threaten him right off the gate. Now, the third thing that you want to look for with your pre-snap process is his coverage. So is he going to be in zone or is he going to be in man? And that is a lot by his stance and with his eyes. So obviously his eyes are on us. He's in a squatted stance. That tells us that it's man. So now, what does he do here? You see how he gives this release? This is called a wide step release. So a wide step release is exactly how it sounds. You step with your back foot wide, trying to attack this DB's leverage, make him think you're going vertical to the outside so we can take the inside release. All of that is chosen why he does this based on that pre-snap look. He's outside leverage, so hey, I'm going to take the inside release, even if I have an outside breaking route. Because a lot of guys think that, oh, my release is based on the route. I have a 10-yard out, so I got to give him a fake to the inside and take this outside release. But this DB is not going to give that up. We know that based on the leverage that he gives us. But I know based on the leverage that he gives us that he is going to let me take the inside release. I just don't want to take off and go run because he's going to get hands, squeeze me to the inside to where his help is. I want to set him up. I want to keep him honest. So I use this wide step because I don't have much room to do anything else. Now, if he was off a couple yards, yeah, maybe I close the space with him. Maybe I attack him a little more. I give him like a foot fire, then I jab to the outside. And we're going to show some examples of that in a second. But it's all based on his distance and it's all based on his leverage. So you see, he attacks him. He takes this inside release. Your separation is not won and lost off the line, fellas. Yes, it helps you get separation for sure. It sets you up for separation, but that's not where it's won and lost. What's won and lost off the ball is spacing and timing. And that's what we should be concerned with. So let's get off the ball fast so I can maintain timing with my quarterback, and let's keep spacing on on the play. If I force this outside release, this DB gets hands, forces me to the sideline, and I got no space. So let's play this again, full speed. So he chose this, fellas, because he's outside shade press and right up on the line. If he had some distance, he would do something different, and that's what we are going to be talking about. Great job here by this wide receiver working that throw-by move and taking what the DB gives. Okay, so now let's talk about this situation. So this is Amari Cooper, and he's going to be running a corner route. More specifically, it is going to be a box corner route. So this is a route where he has to take the inside release, right? So this DB's lined up like kind of like head up situation, but also if he was outside leverage, it would be the exact same thing, just like the last look that we used. Now, what Amari Cooper could do here, because he's head up, right? So if the DB's head up, you could take an inside release or you could take an outside release. But because this is a box corner where you go 5 yards in, 5 yards up, then break out 5 yards to the corner, you have to take an inside release like I said. So he's going to give him a fake to the outside and take this inside release. Now, let's talk about a pre-snap process here. And again, this would be the exact same thing, fellas, if he was outside leverage. If he was outside leverage and maybe you were lined up out of the slot and you had to run a regular corner, it would be the same exact thing, just like the first example. But there's a difference here. So we come up to the ball, we see that it's head up press. Okay, so okay, great. He's head up. That's his leverage. Number two, what are we looking for? Distance. So he's got about 2 yards of distance from us on this. Okay, great. That tells me what release I can use. And then last, I want to identify coverage. Squatted stance, eyes on me. Know that it's man-to-man? Okay, great. Now I got my plan. And that you should be able to identify those things in probably 20 seconds. Less than that, because you don't have that kind of time, fellas. Maybe like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. You should be able to identify that. But going into the game, you should already know what that DB likes to run, how he likes to play it. So when you see it, it's not a foreign concept. You've already seen it on film. You have to do the pre-work as a wide receiver if you want to be successful with these kinds of things, releases, top of the route moves, etc. So what do you think Cooper has to do here? Because there's some space. He has to close the space. So he's not just going to throw this wide step and attack this DB outside from right here. He's going to close the distance, then maybe throw a wide step because we have to close the space. And I'm going to talk about why in a second. I'm going to play at full speed. So he closes the space, then gives a move and takes the inside release so it's an easier stack, gives a hard fake inside, and wins on the corner. So let's talk about it, right? So if we were to just give this wide step here, from this position with this kind of space with us in the DB. And this is why the pre-snap process is important. This is how you pick your releases. If he just gives this jab outside, yeah, maybe the DB jumps. But ultimately, where does he have to get to? He has to get to 10 yards. So if this DB jumps to the inside and we take this inside release, but there's a gap here, this DB can cut us off. He can cut us off on the stem, and then I try to run this corner. It's awkward. He's on my hip. I can't throw by because there's too much space. I can't stack because he beat me to the angle. All of that is because we don't close the space. But if we do close the space, if I do attack him, and then I throw the wide step, if I bring the line of scrimmage to him, then attack to the outside, look how easy it is. I could get hip to hip. He won't be able to beat me to the spot because he didn't have that distance. He didn't have the luxury of space to where he could win the race to the break point. It was easy for me to stack. It was easy for Cooper to stack in this case, give a move inside, and again, have plenty of spacing on this route. Because again, you see where he's lined up. He's lined up on the bottom of the numbers, past the bottom of the numbers. So if he were to just set him up inside and then take this outside release, there would be no room. That's why he's running a box corner, which is like a mandatory inside release. So it's the same scenario as that outside shade look we saw last time. Because remember, that outside shade look we saw in the first clip, he was right up on the line of scrimmage outside shade. So we just give the quick jab. We just give the quick release and then go. Take the inside release. But now that there's space, let's close the space. And it's all based on the pre-snap process, fellas. If you get the pre-snap process down, you will have a much easier time picking releases and choosing what you need to do. So let's play this again, full speed one more time. Great job by Cooper closing the space and then creating separation on that box corner. So now, next example I want to talk about here is going to be this press coverage look head up when the DB's right up on the line of scrimmage. So this wide receiver is going to be running a slant. So I want to talk about this release because this is a release that you guys can use in pretty much any situation when he's head up, right? Because it's a crossover release. So a crossover release is something simple where like, okay, so he's running a slant, right? You want to step in the direction you are going first anytime that you're using a form of a crossover move. So if you're going to the inside, you want to step with the inside first. You're jabbing with the inside foot, faking with the outside. It's a 1-2. off the line. Now, it changes based on the distance of this DB. So he's head up. We know that we're, probably not going to set him up with like a diamond release. We know that he's outside. He's not outside leverage, so I don't got to attack him. I just got to make him miss. I got to make him think I'm going to the outside. Now, when he throws this crossover, it's a bit of a lateral move, right? We talk a lot about it, like in the last clip. You want to attack the DB. You want to threaten him vertical. But if he ain't giving you any room to attack, if he ain't giving you any room to threaten vertical, you got to make him miss lateral. So you see how when he does this crossover, he takes a quick jab, he steps wide, he steps outside the DB's frame, but he's not going vertical. He's stepping more lateral. He's selling with the upper half because that's what the DB's looking at. It's a lateral crossover. Now, think about this. What if the DB was off maybe about a yard? Could you still use this crossover? Like, let's say it's a one-step slant. You could still use the crossover, but you would step a little bit more vertical. You would close the space. Instead of this front foot stepping this way and stepping flat, if you will, that front foot would step vertical. We'd step at him, and we'd still throw the same crossover, but it would be a vertical step. It wouldn't be a lateral step trying to make him miss. It would be a vertical step trying to attack him because, again, that's why the distance matters. So let's play this again, full speed one more time, and then we'll get to an example where a DB is 5 yards off and how you can pick that specific press release. So this is clips from Rondale Moore playing in college, and this is a situation where we got a DB who's on the goal line. We're on like the 4-yard line, maybe the 3-yard line. He's inside shade, this like catch technique, right? So we have to run a goal line fade here. Now, a lot of people would just say, well, if he's that far off, why wouldn't you just take off and go run? That's what he wants us to do. Remember, just because he's got some distance between me does not mean his responsibility changes. His goal is to still prevent the inside route, which is the slant, dig, post. And his goal is still to force me to this sideline away from his help. So if I just take off and run, he's going to go get hands, he's going to get physical, and he's going to squeeze me to the sideline with not a lot of space. So what we have to do is we have to attack him. But now he's not right up on the line press in my face, so I'm probably not just going to give him a quick jab and then go. What do you think we're going to do? We're going to go attack him. We're going to close the distance. We're going to try to step on his toes, then give him a fake to the inside. So let's watch what Moore does. He comes off, he slides, gives a move, and then he's just out. It's a race. It's an easy foot race, and it's an easy stack, or it's an easy like leverage gain or a step gain, if you will, because we brought that line of scrimmage to him. Fellas, we never want to run around guys. We never want to just give a quick move and not close space. If he's closing the space, if he's lining up on the line, then we don't got to worry about it. Let's give him something quick. But if he's off, let's go make sure that we close that distance. So that's the whole purpose of this video, fellas. You got to understand, it's 3 things that help you pick what move you use off the line: leverage, distance, and coverage. Let's play this again full speed. Great job attacking, giving a move, and then winning to that back pylon. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like a 12-week wide receiver gym workout schedule, everything wide receivers should be doing in the gym, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to get you on that, fellas. I'll see you guys next time.